Hello guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel, and this is the Aremus Family TV. And if this is your very first time of watching, please do us a favor, click the subscribe button and don't leave your notification bell turned on so that you are notified each time we post a new video. My name is Shegun. You've seen the title already. It's been almost 8 years, by January 2023 to be 8 years exactly, since I touched down in Istanbul, and we have talked about our experience, the bittersweet moments, the ups and downs living here in Turkey. And most of the videos that we have done on Turkey, we have painted a positive picture of our experience here in the nation of Turkey. And I think that in this video, or it is necessary that we also talk about the other side of living here in Turkey. Now, let me say this. There is no country on the face of this earth that does not have its pros and cons. And some of the things that I may say, some of us may look at it and say, oh, Shegun, this happens everywhere. Oh, Shegun, this is the reality. Anywhere you go to, definitely these are things that are bound to happen. So I'm also throwing this out there to inform us, to educate us, so that if you find yourself peradventure in Turkey, this will prepare your heart and mind, and it will also help you to know how to interact, to know how to relate, and what not to do. All right. And let me say this. A lot of people have come into this country. They've done amazingly well, fantastically. They've upgraded their level. And some have not found it so easy. Some have had to go back home. Okay. Some have had to relocate back to their country. So don't think that when you leave Nigeria or when you leave your country and you move to a so-called better country for greener pasture, the pasture will always be green. Or once you reach Europe, you'll be picking the pounds, the euros, the dollars on the streets. No, it doesn't work like that. When you come to Turkey, you would know that what you saw and what you get, they are two different things. But one thing I can say is this: if you are ready to work hard, if you are ready to solve issues, problems, then there's always a niche, there's always a space for you. Now, let me talk about some of the things that I think you should know or that are not so pleasant about Turkey, or what you need to consider before you make that journey. Now, some of them are happening at the moment, probably because of the forthcoming election. You know, the country stands post-COVID issues, inflation, you know, and so on and so forth. So I don't think it's peculiar or it's limited to Turkey alone. I don't know for other countries, but I can say of where I am right now. And as a foreigner in Turkey, my experience may be different from a citizen. Okay. And so, or if you have any different opinion or suggestions or any other experience that you have witnessed, if you are living in Turkey, if you are Turkish, feel free to drop them in the comment section and we will talk about them together. Now, the first thing I would like to say is this. The rules in Turkey changes, you know, they change their rules just anyhow. As in, laws pertaining to how to get residence permit changes, let me say, virtually almost every week. Like that, or every month. Something, they are always changing, okay, stops, asking for more things, especially this year, for example. For the last, after COVID, let me put it that way, they have always been, you know, bringing up this and that, this and that. At a point, after COVID, they were just denying people for no just reason. Okay, they were just canceling, as in, no excuse. They were just not giving people. And after a while, they just woke up and said, okay, we are now giving people for no just reason. Okay? And those who have applied before they were cancelled, they asked them to reapply. They gave some and they didn't give some. So the laws here, I've given you updates on Turkey, immigration, and all those things. Okay? But what I gave to you, or when I speak with people with deep knowledge, most of the information only lasts for, let's say, a month. The next month, so many new things are coming. Okay? So everything I told you about immigration a few months ago, some of them will no longer work as we speak. Okay? So that is that. And when you have laws that are changing and changing and changing, it does not give room for growth. It doesn't give room for planning. Okay? Someone cannot plan their life. People cannot make a decision when things are changing and changing and changing. So these are things that you should know. Now, okay, you came in now, and let's say you get a 1-year residence permit. The next year is not guaranteed. Okay? And so you need to have this at the back of your mind when you are making that decision. Even if you have a business, okay, there was a time where everybody was saying, oh, when you have a business, just register a business. It's very easy for you to get residence permit. Now, it's not. Even people with businesses cannot even get a residence permit. Someone was made on a status for the past 6 months. He has applied for a work permit. He has businesses here in Turkey, paying remittances, yet he has not been able to get his work permit. Even those who have opened business, even for them to be properly certified, to be properly documented, many of them have not even gotten most of the documents that is supposed to be given to them. So, I just want you to know that these are some of the things that you should consider if you are going to come to Turkey. Another thing right now is this. The new immigration rules makes it extremely difficult for small, medium scale entrepreneurs. You need to have tens of thousands of dollars invested here for you to be guaranteed of having a residence permit. Okay? For you to be guaranteed of having a residence permit, you need to understand this. And this changes. Today they say 75, tomorrow they say 100, tomorrow it is 200, and so on and so forth. So this is another thing you need to have at the back of your mind. A lot of people are coming to Turkey not to school, to come. How can I invest? What can I do? There are lots of African community here that also need services, okay? That need services. A lot of African businesses here, they cater for the needs of other Africans, not really dealing directly with the Turkish, okay? So, but it's becoming much more difficult and difficult to plan. The easiest route right now that everybody is going through is go to a school, language school. Well, let's see if at the end of the day, if that is still going to continue, or they are going to shelve that and allow easier immigration rules that will favor the foreigners here in the nation of Turkey. Another thing I would like to say is this. If you are a young family in Nigeria or in any part of Africa, and you're saying, okay, I want to settle down in Turkey, I want to have a family in Turkey, you need to know that when you give birth here in Turkey, there is no citizenship by birth. The only people who are qualified to have citizenship is if, for example, you are married to a Turkish as a foreigner, then your child is given the access. Your child definitely can be registered and given the necessary documents. But if you are a foreigner here, you have to go and get the passport of your country. There are people whose embassies are not even functional here in Turkey, or they have an embassy, but they do not issue passports. So many of these people, they have to return back to their country, get a passport for their child, apply for visa, and come back. So that is a lot of money. So that's another thing you need to know. Now, there are lots of injustice that have been meted to Africans here. Let me give you an example. If my wife goes out, for example, you just see a Turkish man beckons at my wife. Some will even trail them, walk, harass them. At the end of the day, if that is reported, nothing is done. But if an African man tries such a thing, trust me, he will be deported immediately. We've even seen cases of a guy who was asking someone for direction, and the person felt threatened, and she died. Before you know it, this guy was in detention center. I don't think there's a lady here in Istanbul, an African lady, that will say a Turkish man has not stopped, or that will say she has not been followed, or she has not been harassed here in the nation of Turkey. We've seen cases of an issue between an African and a Turkish. They don't even care what happens. Once you are caught, they don't want to know who is at fault or not. It's immediate deportation. They are taking you to immigration center. Even if you have a residence permit, it is that bad as we speak. So even if you are doing the right thing, the advice I will say to you is, please just leave everything. In fact, don't argue with anybody, because right now I think they are looking for ways to just deport people, or they are looking for ways to just send people out of the country, which I think is not good, which I think is totally wrong. You just see a landlord just wake up, a landlord just increase the house rent by 3-fold. If you cannot pay, just leave. And they will not do that to a fellow Turkish. They will not do that. If you check blacks living in an apartment, if you check how much they are paying, and if you check what their Turkish counterparts in the same place are paying, they are two different things. It is here that you will see a landlord that will demand 6 months, 1 year from foreigners, but they cannot do that to their citizen. It is stipulated in the Turkish law that you just have to pay. If you are going to increase the rent, it must not be more than 15%. But it is here in Turkey that you see a landlord just raise it as much as they like. If you cannot pay, go away. Landlord can just wake up and just say, okay, leave my house. But in the last 2-3 years, I've had a very good landlord. So many have had good landlords and so on. So I'm not saying that it is something that is happening everywhere, okay? But we have seen lots of cases like that. Lots of cases like that, which I think should not be. A lot of people said, why not take a lawyer and go and fight it? Do you know how much you pay a lawyer to go and fight? Do you know how much you pay a lawyer to do all those? So I think you should know that. Finally, because I've talked a lot, finally, the currency. The currency is really something you should know about. When I came into this country 8 years ago, a dollar was not even up to 2 Turkish lira. It wasn't. That was in 2015, January 2015. It was not up to 2 Turkish lira. As we speak, a dollar is almost 18 Turkish lira. That is as of September. I can say that between now and December is likely going to be 20. Or everybody, in fact, if you ask anybody around you, they will tell you it may even go. Everybody can predict that it may even be more than 20. Now, 4 years ago, when I was leaving for my marriage, a Turkish lira was around 100 naira. 100 naira. I'm using naira because even though the naira has not been stable, there has been inflation. Okay, the naira has not been stable in the last 4 or 5 years. But right now, a Turkish lira is 40, 41, 42 naira. So the lira has lost 60 naira, even though the naira is also losing value. Imagine, when I left Nigeria, naira was not up to 200. Yes, 200. Yes, it was not up to 200. A dollar was not up to 200 naira. But right now, it is almost 700. Or it is 700. Just imagine, naira have fallen so bad. If naira had maintained its strength as it was then, it will probably be right now be of the same value with the Turkish lira. So the lira, the currency, is weakening, and it's a source of concern. So if you are going to come here, you should know that the inflation here is very high. If you go to the market now, things to buy, the price have tripled. Market prices is going up every blessed. As we speak, it is increasing. As in, they are just changing and changing and changing. In fact, many markets here, they do not sell in Turkish lira again. It is now a dollar market. So you should know all this. All right, guys. I hope you've learned one or two things. Just like I said, these are subjective. These are my own opinion. But Turkey is still an amazing country. But you should know this before you make that move. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in our next video.